Hi, good evening, and welcome to a Barmy Army podcast, number 50. We've been doing this for 50 weeks. We're nearly at the year. We're nearly there, and we'll be here for the year. Tonight I'm with Fiona and Jake. Good evening, both. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Jake's just happy, smiling away. So we know Jake's good.
It's good to be back.
It is. Fiona, this is your first one of the year.
Yeah, as you know, exciting to talk football.
It is. It's exciting to have you both here. Right. Tonight we will be talking Hayley Ladd's extension, Mary Earps' extension, the game against Villa on Sunday, and also we're going to have to talk about the injury to Leah. And in fact, that's where we're going to start, with the injury with Leah. Jake, I'm going to start with you, because this season, when we've been doing the watch-alongs and Sunday socials and everything else, you've said constantly that Leah has been our best player, period.
Yeah.
So, how big of a blow is it, the news that she's out for months, is the way the club could put it?
Yeah, well, you say, yeah, I've absolutely said she's our best player, and that in the sense of this season is putting her above Tobin, because it's not just a direct goal involvement. You know, she has a real impact on the pitch. She gets the team moving, and I think I've also said before, you know, I wish we could clone Leah and have 3 Leah Golsons up front, but now we won't even have one, which is a big disappointment. But you know, since Tobin got injured, we've been putting a lot of expectation on Leah to get us going, to take shots at goal and just sort of spark something in the attack. So now that she's gone, someone needs to step up, because she's going to be a massive miss now. We've not got someone on that left side to rely on. I think that'll be a massive issue, and it's going to be interesting to see how the team sort of fills the gap.
Yeah. Evening, Deb. Evening, John Neville. Evening, John Fry. Evening, Jonathan. Evening, Rock. Evening, Ref. Jake, Deb's has put this in, but you love Jackie Moore. Just saying. Fiona, if there was ever a time we didn't need to lose Leah, is it now?
Yeah, because her and Tobin have been great creative sparks when we've struggled to get a goal. And obviously Tobin's out for a while still. So yeah, we will miss Leah. She's involved in lots of goals. But she has that kind of fight, that passion in her, you know, to get us that goal when we're drawing or when we're struggling, and she can kind of create something out of nothing almost. So having her out at the same time as Tobin is going to be a big issue for us.
Yeah. Jake, the Everton game, I just want to talk about the Everton game, because Jonathan makes this point in the comments. Leah is a marked woman every game. Against Everton, they kind of doubled up on her, which kind of freed the right-hand side, which kind of worked in our favour. Do you find more teams are now changing their tactics because of Leah?
Well, last season, I think she sort of went under the radar. But this season, people know who she is. People know the danger that she brings and the talent she possesses. So I think whereas the whole team has sort of gone towards Leah and thought, this is our danger woman, let's get the ball out to her, then obviously the other clubs have also spotted that, and they do put 2 on Leah. I mean, the only time last season it happened was probably the Bristol game, and that, you know, she didn't get much joy in that. And I know no one needs reminded of that game, but that was the first time, you know, a team that I can remember double marks Leah. But this season, we're seeing it happen more and more. And I hate to say this, but she's having bad games but no fault of her own. You know, sometimes defenders will just target her, and it's a great tactic to target Leah. The question is, who else do we have to get the ball out to? We are so focused on getting it out to Leah that it's almost as if we've got no one else to pass it to.
Yeah, and actually, that's a point we're going to talk about a bit later. Evening, Karen. Evening, Sang. Sang's only going to be here for a little while because he's a Chelsea fan and they've got Champions League tonight. Well, I think John Fry, you summed it up quite nicely there. Fiona, at the beginning of the season, you were quite critical of Leah. But was it the way we were playing at the time and getting used to a new team, and now do you look at it and go, actually, she's been the one consistent player throughout the season?
Leah's a confidence player. She needs to have confidence in herself, and she needs others to have confidence in her for her to perform at her best, to have that freedom. And we haven't played for a while at the beginning of the season. When was our last competitive game? March. We had a few friendlies. That will have, I think, hampered her confidence a little bit. I think she needs a few games to get started. But from then on, she has improved because she has been playing well. She got a bit of confidence in herself. Things have gone her way. I also think having the likes of Tobin to give her a bit of advice helps. But I also wonder, did that hamper her because it pushed her out of her favourite position? Those kind of things. I think we were critical of Leah because we know what she can do and what she did last season. And we always want to see that from Leah. You're never going to get that every game. Well, we hadn't seen that at the beginning, and we've seen that now more in the more recent games. So we'd like that to continue when she comes back from injury. You'd like her to have that self-belief anyway without needing those few games to get started. But when she gets started, her level is just right up there. What did Casey say? Best left winger in the league. She's played at left back, did a job there as well. She just needs to have that bit of self-belief because we've seen what she can do.
Absolutely. I know, Jake, you mentioned it before, but we've lost Tobin as well as Leah. So on a scale of everything that could probably go wrong to, I think in most of our opinions, our two best players this season. I think with Honor in there as well. With Tobin and Leah now out, we don't know how long they're both going to. Well, we know months for Leah and we know Tobin is weeks. Do you think we can cope without both of them? Tough question.
Yeah, against certain teams, yes, but again, there are teams that do worry me in running. We're going to have to be at our best as a team to beat them because, I've said it. I don't have the stats in front of me, but you add up the goals that Leah and Tobin have scored or assisted between them. You'll find it's probably quite a few. And without them, I just think we've got a bit of a lack of creativity going forward. Which, okay, against the small teams, you can beat them by maybe one or two, and that's okay. But against the bigger teams, what's going to happen? That's my main worry. Tobin and Leah, they're both incredible individuals, and they lift the team up in a way that no other player can, unless we see something different from someone now. But it's just seeing Leah go off against City was, that hurt. It hurt because I knew it would be an uphill struggle from then on, and yeah, she was like our only hope going forward. If I'm honest with you, when Tobin had gone. Yeah,
and the thing about that the injury was it happened off the ball, and when it happens off the ball, it's always a really bad one. And I think we all in the watch along, I think we all went, that's not good. You're asking for stats. I can guarantee Fiona's been looking at the answer for you.
So they got 10 goals between them. So they've got 10 out of our 32 goals in the league this season.
Nearly a third.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are both going to be a huge loss. I'll come back to who's going to play in their positions when we talk about the Villa game, because I'm sure we've all got different formations and different tactics. The extension to Hayley Ladd, She signed for another couple of years till 2023. Jake, you were very happy about that, weren't you?
It's no secret that I love Hayley Ladd. Top player, very versatile, adapts to whatever position you put her in. I mean, I think we all remember the first league game she played for us at the Etihad. Played it right back for most of it. So yeah, very adaptable player, very very cool head on the ball. Delighted to have her on board for at least another 2 years.
So, good business for the club?
100%. 100%. Yeah, no matter who we bring in and who leaves and whatever, I think Hayley is someone who can adapt to having new players around her, and she can adapt to different situations really well. She's not a player who can only play against certain teams or only play in a certain formation, and that's what I like about her. You know, she plays centre back for Wales and she plays defensive mid for us. So that in itself, 2 different positions. She's a player who you can rely on in situations that might not be the easiest, so to speak.
Yeah. Fiona, someone mentioned it, and actually I've looked back at the 2 games, the Reading game and the City game, and someone mentioned that we're all right when Hayley's on the pitch, but the minute she goes off, we seem to concede quite quickly after she's come on. She good business for the club, keeping her in for a few years?
Definitely. She was one of our best players last season.
Yeah.
Not necessarily reached the same heights this season, but she's done, I think, a slightly different role. She's our player with the most assists, I think, at the moment. She's maybe a bit further forward, but I think a sensible bit of business. We need defensive midfielder. We need somebody, another one, to give her a bit of competition. But when she's on the pitch, she, like you said, makes the players around her play better. I think the defence are a lot more calm when they've got her in front of them, because they know Hayley she'll run anywhere to try and get the ball back, that kind of thing. And I also think the other midfielders then play better a bit as well, because they don't have to worry. I don't have to sprint halfway down the pitch to cover defensively, because Hayley will do that, kind of is there to provide that cover. So yeah, I think it is a sensible bit of business. Give her a long contract as long as we can get her to sign for that. That's great. The only thing is, Jake, you can't get her name on your shirt. Just for note, next season she's not been on your shirt.
As much as I'd love to, I'm aware that I curse players, so yeah, I'll pick a safer option.
John Fried makes a point. Hayley's a great signing, just needs some midfield helpers around her. Now, it's not confirmed. The club haven't confirmed it, but last week we've been linked with a... Jake, do you want to help me out with the name? Or do you want to leave it?
Well, Ellen told us all, didn't she?
Yeah.
Vilda Borisa, apparently.
Correct.
It's silent E or something.
So, Fiona, you've probably looked into her career a bit, probably with your stats and everything else. If she comes in, good partner for Hayley?
By the sounds of it looks like that would be the case. She plays for one of the top teams she's left them now, one of the top teams in Norway. She might be competition for Hayley. She also is a CDM, but she might be competition for some of the other midfielders if she plays a bit further forward. Or maybe we play her and Hayley together if we need to have that defensive cover. Competition is always good in a squad, and I think we need that in our midfield. We've got a few midfielders, but we don't have the same depth in roles in midfield, which I think we need. So it sounds like she'll kind of provide that for us, and she's got experience of scoring against the likes of City, so a United fan will always be happy.
Happy straight away. Fiona, I'm going to stay with you for the next question. Hayley's leading the group, is leading the team with the most assists this season. Because last season she really wasn't. She was in and out of it. You know, how impressed have you been with her getting forward this season?
I think it's good to see that in her game, to know that she does have that versatility in her skills. Obviously, there are teams where we don't need to be as defensive. We don't need to have a defensive midfielder sitting back for the full 90 minutes. So it's about knowing when to go forward, or when to, I don't know, rotate. Maybe Jackie or Katie or whoever's in midfield sits back for 5 minutes and Hayley pushes further forward, to make the opposition have to think a bit. So I think it is good to see that side of a game. Maybe she can chip in a few goals as well. That'd be nice.
Yeah, and actually, that's the point I'm going to come on to Jake with. Jake, I know you like Sophie Ingles. Sang's put it in. She's been sent off in the Chelsea Champions League game already.
Oh, has she?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, and they've had a penalty as well, but they missed it. It was saved. The opposition. There you go. Right, that's the Chelsea talk done. Sang, if you want to keep the updates coming in, we'll relay them to Jake. Jake, as you said, you make no bones about it. You are a massive Hayley Ladd fan. Are goals the next part of Hayley's game you want to see?
Well, it's hard to say because she's a defensive midfielder. She's not meant to be up there scoring goals. But as I stats say, she's leading in assists this season, which doesn't sound right, but she's done it. When you think of assists, you think of maybe an attacking midfielder, a winger, maybe even a striker having the most assists. But Hayley's playing a bit of a different role this season. Maybe not sitting back as much, getting forward, playing long balls. And yeah, she hasn't been as good as last season when you put everything into perspective. But if she's making the assists, then why not score a few goals? I mean, she scored the winner against Reading, but we'd like a few more moments like that. Or the goal against Leicester, of course. We'd love to see more chips like that. Or any goals. Let's start small and let's work up to that.
Because she's only scored in the WSL 4 goals.
Is that for us or total?
No, one for us in the WSL, which is this season. She didn't score in the WSL at all for us last season. She scored in the Leicester game, as you correctly mentioned. And for me, I only remember that goal because it was, in my opinion, and John Fry will be straight in the comments with me, it was the best goal and also the best celebration ever. That's that. And then she scored for Birmingham in 27-18 in the WSL. So
I think I remember that one.
Yeah, so she does. So adding goals is, I think, the next progressional part of her game. But this season, we're getting the assists out of her, and she is a fan favourite, and clearly so. Just to go through some comments, Deborah's put, Hayley has scored. She's ahead of Jackie in that aspect. We all want a Jackie goal. Probably no one more so than Jake, actually, just so we can have a bit of a celebration.
Yeah, John, a royal celebration.
Yeah, I'm sure you have. John Fry says we need all of our players scoring goals, not relying on just one or two players. And then Karen has put cancelling our celebration by Hayley. It's just the best celebration, and I loved it. Fiona, it seems this season we are getting more players scoring than just LJ or Jess as it was in the championship season. Are you seeing a more rounded team performance going forward from that on that aspect?
Kind of, but I also think it might be due to like some of the goals we score in some of the games. We should be 3 or 4-0 up at points, and we're sometimes having to rely on scrappy goals or a lot of luck in some of them. People being in the right place at the right time, that kind of thing. But yeah, it is good to see variety of players getting goals. Because if you have one player that scored like half your goals and they get injured, what are you gonna do? So it would be nice to see some of our strikers getting more goals than they're getting. But I'm also happy to see everybody chipping in. There is potential, you'd say, for a bit more cohesion around the front. Sometimes it looks like our players haven't quite got on the same wavelength, and that would definitely help goals. But it takes time to get there, particularly new signings and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I suppose the one, we've obviously lost, going back, we've obviously lost Leah and Tobin for a period of time. Hayley's extended, and actually John Fry's just come in with the comment I was going to talk about. We need Russo back ASAP. We played a behind closed doors friendly. I don't know, every game's behind closed doors right now on Sunday against Sheffield United. Lucy Stan played Jake. Obviously, you're happy about that because you're a massive Lucy Stan fan as well. With the injuries that we've currently got, can you see Lucy Stan coming in and doing a bit of a job? Because she's only made 7 appearances for us this season in the WSL, and they've been bit part performances. Do you want to see a Lucy start a game and have her true influence, or do you still think she's going to be a bit part player for the time being?
Well, yeah, I'd like to see her get game time, full games at some point, because that's what she was used to at Birmingham, and it's been really broken up this season for her. You started with the suspension, then an injury, then she finally came in, and now she's obviously picked up another one. But that news of her being back on the pitch in that friendly, it's really encouraging. Maybe it'll keep our other midfielders on the toes a bit for replacing the starting 11. Casey always talks about competition and everything, and I think Lucy definitely gives that. But I'd like to see her get more of a chance. I'd love to see her just play a full game, because I know she might have played 1 or 2, but I can't remember a time when Lucy has actually played a full game. Again, don't have the figures in front of me, but I've not seen anywhere near enough of her, and I know what she can do. I mean, she's been in the England squad, and she's been there for a reason. And yeah, we've definitely not seen the best of Lucy.
Yeah, I want to see her. I want to see her more, because when she has come on, she has done very well. We look at the assist that she gave to Kristen, and which you said straight away, Lucy's going to put this ball in, and I can tell you where it's going to go. So I obviously want to see more. Before I go to Fiona about Alessia Russo, apparently Jane Ross got a hat trick in the Sheffield game. Ian Hale. And John Fry says, yeah, Lucy, we need her creativity. Evening, Vincent. We've seen over the last few weeks, and actually it was at the City game where pre-match we started to see pictures of Alessia Fiona working with a ball. We don't know whether she got any minutes on Sunday against Sheffield, but going back to how we started this podcast, talking about the loss of Leah now, and obviously Tobin, how good is it to get Alessia back? Sorry, just before you carry on, Ian wants proof. Ian, Deborah says it, so it's done. There you go. We're going to get you this money, Jake. We're going to do it. Right.
Thank you.
Fiona, how good is it to have Alessia back?
Oh, it's great. Since she came to the United, she's been great on the pitch. We've seen goals from her. She adds that competition, but also if you look at our injuries, it gives us a few options now. We could play Jake would like this. We could go and play with 2 strikers. We could put Kristen on the left or the right and play Russo through the middle. I think, Russo through the middle is definitely probably her strongest position, whereas we've seen Press play on the left for the US national team in the international break. But I think she's a United fan, and so you hope that on the pitch she uses that to motivate her, to give her the passion, to give her the fight back if we ever need to fight back, that kind of thing. But after somebody's been out for a while, ease her in. Don't rush and get her playing 90 minutes first game back just because everybody else is injured, that kind of thing. You need to ease her in slowly so that when she is back, she's back at 100%. Because her 80% might be great, but we want to see her play at 100%. And I think she will go on to score lots of goals for us. I could see her being one of the top goal scorers in the WSL next season if she's fit for the full season. I just think she suits our style of play as well. And that's so important with a striker.
Yeah. John says, be great to see Alessia back on the bench on Sunday. And Jake, we've had bad injuries this season. As we've lost Tia Tobin, we've lost Leah, and we've been saying that for most of the night. We've lost Leslie to a bad hamstring injury that required surgery. We've not really seen LJ a lot this season. We've seemed to have had more injuries than sometimes players on the bench. And actually, when we've played games, I don't think we've actually had a full subs bench yet. Fiona will obviously find out how many times we have. I think we've had it maybe once or twice. So how good is it that even though we have got a couple of injuries, it's good to see the injured players coming back?
Yeah, massive. Because if they were still injured, then we'd be struggling for numbers again, and we'd be like naming 3-4 subs like we did at the start of the season. But no, Russo coming back, she doesn't even need to prove herself. She only played a few games, but I remember the goal against Brighton. I remember the goal against West Ham. I remember the impact she had against Birmingham. I'm not sure if she scored in that one, but the impact she had when we came back. That she has all the signs of a natural born finisher, and to have her back does restore some confidence. I know she might not play the full 90, or she might only get even half an hour, maybe even less on Sunday. I'm not sure how Katie will ease her back in, but yeah, having Russo back, massive confidence booster for us fans, for the team. She's a real target woman, and Fiona said it. Next season, if she's fit for the full thing, she could be a top scorer in the league. And people talk about Ellen White and Viviana Miedemar as if they are legends, heroes of the game. I can see Russo on that level. I really can.
I mean that's high praise. That coming from you, Jake, because you look at all of that. Vincent puts it very simply. What day is it? It's Russo Day. Fiona, I want to come to you on this point that John Fry made. No other WSL team could have coped with our injury list this season. Do you agree with that? Because I, for one, I do. I completely agree with it.
The only team I think would be Chelsea, but that's purely because they have so much depth that if they had 5 or 6 players injured at the moment, they'd still have another 11 for the bench. That I think for us, we've lost some of our star players, and I wonder, could any other WSL team cope with losing their best 2, 3, 4 players in a similar time period? I don't think they would. So I agree with you on that point, John, that we have that. I want to say like quality, depth and quality in our starting 11. Creative players, that kind of thing. And I don't think City would be able to cope with it. Arsenal wouldn't be able to cope with it if they lost the likes of Miedemar. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great point John made. The other news that came out was Mary Earps has signed a contract extension as well till 2023, plus the bonus of the extra option if we take the year of the option if we take it. I'm going to ask you the same question we asked about Hayley, Jake. Good business for the club?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, by far our first choice goalkeeper. We talk about maybe having a bit of competition for her. Maybe she has a solid place in the team. Yes, the place is solid, but look, she's a decent goalkeeper. people we know there's people who love Mary. There's people who criticise Mary. But look, if you fire a shot at her, she's got great reactions. She's someone who you would trust in like a one-on-one situation, trust to command the box. She can, especially with no fans now, you can hear Mary is one of the most commonplace to shout in the game and raise her voice. So yeah, she's commanding. She can make a save for us. I think it's a really good bit of business. And you look at the other side. Had we let Mary go, I think we'd be scrambling to find a new goalkeeper. I think we really should appreciate Mary for what she is and the save she makes.
Yeah, and actually, that's what I'm going to come on to Fiona about. Fiona, obviously, when it was announced on social media, there were people, fans, whatever you want to call them, who went in and said, this shows the club has no ambition. Do you think we needed to go out in the summer and get a new goalkeeper?
I think there's arguments for it, but even if that was the case, we need 2 quality goalkeepers. Because what happens if we get somebody in, say like Endler or whatever other names, and they get injured, and then we've got Rambo and Bentley on the bench? We're in a similar position to what if Mary gets injured now. So I think if we do go for somebody, it would be to compete with Mary rather than to replace Mary altogether. So in that regard, it's a sensible bit of business from the club. We don't want to risk having no quality goalkeeper and having 2 youngsters in Rambo and Bentley and only having that.
Yeah, I mean, I think what astounded me was when we announced the Hayley Ladders signed the extension, everyone was coming out and saying, brilliant by the club, best thing the club have done. And then a couple of days later, we announced Mary signed an extension, and it's as if the club have gone and sold her. What I don't understand is Jake said, and I mean, Jake, let me ask you, would you say Mary is the best shot stopper in the WSL?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, she's not got a lot of competition in terms of, we look at goalkeepers week in, week out, make mistakes, whether it be positioning, getting the ball out, but shot stopping itself, if you gave me a list of all 12 clubs and all 12 goalkeepers, Mary would be the first or second choice for me, honestly, for shot stopping.
Fiona, I know, you are a United fan, but you watch England. Do you understand why she's not in the England squad, or are you as a United, or do you put your United hat on first and go, I'm glad she's not in the England squad?
I'm kind of glad that she's not in it because it gives her time to, I think she said recently in an article or in a podcast or something along those lines that it gives her time to have one-on-one coaching with whoever or that kind of thing. Whereas if she's off with England, there's 3 or 4 of them training together, that kind of thing. It doesn't give you much time to work on your weaknesses. And we know that Mary has her weaknesses. Her distribution isn't the greatest. Her shot stopping is up there, but I think we need to see other areas improved from her. So that is it is nice for us to have her back working on those kind of things. I can see why she's not in the England squad as well. Things like they want young goalkeepers, for future competitions and that kind of stuff. It is disappointing to see her disappointed about it, but I like that she's put a positive spin on it as well, which is always nice to see. Bit of competition, that fight in her. Yeah,
and we've had the point of view from the United fan. Let's go over to the international fan, Jake. Do you think she should be in the England squad?
Hold on, you say that as if I'm not a United fan. But...
No, I don't mean that. I don't. You are Mr. Great Britain.
Of course,
you do love your internationals.
Yeah, based on ability, absolutely. But I think the last 2 England squads have been named on, as Fiona said, building for the future. Let's get the younger goalkeepers in. You look at Sandy McIver and Hannah Hampton, who are both considerably younger than Mary. And yeah, it's great experience for those 2. But if I had to pick 3 England goalkeepers, yeah, Mary would definitely be in them. So I think it's good motivation for us to try and get back into the squad. and push for a place, obviously, at next year's Euros.
Yeah. John Fry makes the point. He thinks in the summer we need to get an experienced keeper to back Mary up and push each of them further. Fiona, is that something that you can see Casey doing? Maybe letting Fran or Rambo going out on loan for a season and bringing in a more experienced keeper for a number 2 job, like the men have done with David De Gea, and they brought in Sergio Romero for a time. And can you see Casey maybe doing something like that?
Yeah, I think Mary does need that competition, and Rambo signed a reasonably long contract, if I remember correctly. So I think it would be good for her to go somewhere competitive on loan where she can get a decent number of games in her. We haven't seen enough of her being in a first team. The Devs I think is a different level. I suppose it depends where we finish in the leagues. If we do get Champions League, that opens it up to another level of goalkeeper. But I still think even if we don't get Champions League, and I think that is still strongly in our hands, we do need to get that competition. To have something a bit like De Gea and Henderson have now, where if one of them isn't performing, you can drop them and you can put the number 2 in or the other first choice goalkeeper in there and still have a strong squad. At the moment, I just think Rambo hasn't had enough game time to have that in her just yet. Maybe for the future, but not at the moment.
Yeah, just a couple of comments. John Fry says on current form he wouldn't have Mary in the England squad. And Deborah says every player needs challenging. Mary's no different. She's too comfortable at times. Jake, you talk about when we talk about keepers and Mary, we've obviously got a very good goalkeeper in Emily Ramsey. Whenever she's come in, she's not really let us down. The City game, she saved penalties for us. Would you, going back to the point that John made, to go out and get an experienced keeper, would you go and do it? Or would you actually go, we've got a perfectly good number 2 here right now, who could be number 1 someday? Or would you be tempted to do as John said, bringing in some experience and maybe loan out Emily?
It's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, I think Casey's always been about trying to bring the young players through. I mean, we saw Rebecca May play against Reading last season. We saw Tara Bourne and Carrie Jones named on the bench this season against Reading. A bit of a theme there, however. But look, I want to see that natural progression. I want to see Rambo given a bit more of a chance. But I do feel for her. I feel for her and I feel for Fran Bentley, because when are they going to get game time? When are they going to have a good run rather than just the odd Conti Cup game? But that's the crisis you have as a manager and as a team in general. You've got to play your best keeper. And Mary, in terms of experience and probably talent, I can't really compare because obviously I've not seen that much of the other 2, is miles ahead. Mary should always be first choice goalkeepers. But yeah, Rambo, we've seen glimpses of her. We've seen bits. But to properly judge a goalkeeper, they've got to have a run of games, not just one up here or there. So yeah, I want to see Rambo given a chance before just spending money and bringing players in. It only feels natural that the players you've got in your squad are given a chance and a place in the team rather than just a place in the squad. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do, and John Fry makes the point, and he I suppose he's got a very valid point that Emily and maybe Fran need to go out on loan next season to get some playing experience. If the FA Cup was running, and it's clearly not, and we don't know whether it will be running this season, it'll probably be running next season when we've got everything else to go for. Can you see, if we do have Rambo and Mary there, and can you see Rambo playing the cup games, kind of like Sergio Romero did, Fiona? He was more for cup games.
Yeah, she has done it in the Conti Cup, even when we've played stronger teams in the Country Cup. She's had games then. I don't know if you necessarily play her in, say we got Chelsea or something like that in the FA Cup where it's a knockout game. I don't know if I would be confident enough to play her then. Casey might be. But I don't know if, what would it be, 3, maybe 4, maybe only 2 Conti Cup games and a couple of FA Cup games. Is that really enough? I know for the men at United, they always say a goalkeeper needs to go out and get, I think it's 100 appearances or 50 appearances, something like that, by the age they're 20. It doesn't matter what level, you just need to play football as a first team goalkeeper. And we're not going to get that level in that many appearances in the women's game. But I still think if we can get Rambo at a championships team or WSL team, ideally, although I think that'd be a bit more difficult, playing as the first choice goalkeeper there, and what does she get? Maybe like 20 games or something like that, maybe a few more, maybe a few less in a season. I think that will do her the world of good. Lots of experience. The championship is still competitive, and I think that would just improve her to another level.
Yeah, no, I agree. Vincent says maybe what we need is a United Women's Reserve team. Maybe we do. So all in all, happy with the business the club have done extending Mary and Hayley. I think you both said you are. So if you had to choose the next player to extend, who would it be? Fiona, you can have some thinking time. Jake goes first.
Amy Turner's not been extended yet, has she?
Not yet, no.
Amy Turner, rock at the back all season. Such a reliable defender. Might not always win you the game, but will stop a goal going in. It's as simple as that. She's a good old-fashioned defender. She has crunching tackles in her. She has everything that you want, really. And with the recent news of her partner going over to the US, I'm even more eager to get the signature.
Okay. Now, Jake, Karen said Jackie. I'm staggered you didn't say Jackie. I think Fiona.
Well, we don't know how long Jackie's contract is, but we have a feeling it doesn't end this summer, or we hope it's not this summer. If Jackie's still got a few more years left, if she hasn't, I would go with Jackie. Need to sign her, give her a long contract. But I think of the players that we definitely know their contract ends this summer, I think I'd probably say Kirsty Smith, because we just don't have any depth in fullback otherwise. She's been a great fullback for us this season. She's not the same level as Honor, but she has improved since last season, and I think that's great to see. She can play on the left or the right. That's useful to have in your squad.
Yeah. So Karen said Jackie. Any guesses who Deborah said?
Oh, it's a difficult one.
It was a difficult one, wasn't it? John Fry agrees with Jake. Amy T, let's please stop the rumours. And as you said, Jake, Angarad is going to Carolina.
North Carolina.
North Carolina. But we don't know. So you want Jake wants Amy, Fiona wants Kirsty Smith. I'm going to agree with you about Kirsty Smith. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to go with Amy T. I agree with Jake. I do. I think Amy T's been a rock at the back, and I think she thoroughly deserves that new contract. John Neville says Amy T and Jackie. She plays on the yeah, funny Debs. So we start off with those, and then we'll build. Right, Sunday we're playing a game. It feels like forever since we last played. 3 weeks. Aston Villa. Right, and before are you confident, Jake, about the game, or are you going to be 95th minute winner again.
No, I think this is one of those games where we won't need a 94th or 95th or however late I'm going this week minute winner. Villa, we played them many times before. Obviously, the last game is the best reflection of them. And it didn't give us a lot of trouble. They didn't attack us much, didn't do a lot. We were far from our best that day, let's be honest. That wasn't the game to remember. It was a 2-goal victory. It wasn't something we should complain about, but we know we're much better than that. However, with the injuries, with the fact some players are coming back and aren't in full fitness, it's going to be a different challenge. I think we'll score. I think we'll score quite a few because Villa's defence doesn't worry me much. But our defence needs to be on the game because look at Villa's new signing, Iwabuchi. She's really transformed their team. She is like our Toby, our Leah. So, yeah, keep an eye on her and I think we'll be okay.
Okay, so you mentioned some goals. John Fry went 10-0.
Ambitious.
Vincent, he's confident he thinks we can do 6.
Oh, wow.
Then John's said actually 4-1. And Karen says we need a good win on Sunday just to get our confidence back. Fiona, can you see us scoring, the goals that these guys are saying in the chat? Or would you be happy with a 1-0 win and just 3 points right now?
3 points is always what we need. But after our last 2 games, a good win, a win where we perform well, I think would help us going forward, give us a bit of confidence. I don't know if I'd necessarily go with a 6-0, and I agree with you, Jake, that the new signing that they have is giving them a bit of lease of life, but I still think 3-1, something along those lines, 2-1, 3-1, 4-1. It'd be nice if we had a good performance to go with a win because we haven't really seen that too much. A good overall performance. Hopefully, Kristen has got a bit of confidence after scoring for the US national team that will, get her kick on a bit more, get a couple of goals, maybe root her off the bench with a goal. Maybe even Jackie. Throwing it out there. Meltdown in the watch along.
Meltdown. I can only imagine what Ian's going to be doing if that happens on Twitter on Sunday. Just so you know, Jake, it's 0-0 at half-time for the Chelsea Champions League game. Thanks, Sang, for that. John makes the point, definitely 3 points, but we need a performance too, and that's something that you said, Fiona. Karen says, would love a big win, but we'll take a 1-0 win, need the 3 points. We mentioned it earlier. We'll kind of talk about it now. Obviously, Leah's out. Obviously, Tobin's out. So, to you both, and I'm going to put you on who plays on the left, who plays on the right, and then who plays up front for you. Who's going to start? Jake.
It's a difficult one. Obviously, we might have more options now if Russo's returning. But I'll go with what I think Katie will do. I mean, I'd love to see Kristen moved over to the left and give Jess a run down the middle, but I can't see it happening. I just hope that Kristen, hits some of that form that we saw against Everton, where she looked like the player that we thought we'd sign. This striker who's on fire. Obviously, she's had a great international break, so yeah, she'll probably be down the middle. And then Jess probably start on the right, and then on the left you've got to have Kirsty Hansen. She's not had a bad international break either, I must say. So she'll be high on confidence and the only, recognised winger we've got at the moment.
Fiona?
Kirsty Hansen will have to go on the left. I can't see anybody else doing that role. But I could maybe see Tooney being pushed out on the right again and play somebody else as a 10. Maybe play Ivana or Lucy Stan coming into midfield or something along those lines. I think if we had I would say if Russo was fit, I would have said Russo through the middle and Kristen on one of the wings. But I can't see it going with anybody else but Kristen as the striker. I think it'll be interesting to see what Casey decides on because she doesn't have many options, but she still has many options of kind of playing people out of position. So yeah.
Right, I'm just going to go through some of the comments. Deborah's going to play Hanson on the left, Jess on the left, and then Kristen down the middle. Then she says, actually, Jess on the right. John says he's not going to disclose his team yet, but I think I might know what John will do because I think he might probably do possibly the same as me. Karen is going to play press on the left, Hanson on the right. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play Kristen on the left, Kirsty on the right, and I mentioned it on Sunday, I'm going Jess through the middle. Because I think against Villa, their defence is pretty shaky. You need someone a bit more physical. That's what I would do. But going, Sang makes the performance. You need to jump on Villa. The 4-0 versus Arsenal flatters Arsenal. And I have to agree with that because for the first 55 minutes against Villa were very, very good. But as you said, Jake, their defence isn't great. So let's say we get an early goal against them, and do you expect us then to just go and absolutely hammer their goalie left, right, and centre?
Probably, yeah. Because Villa, I've said before, they're not up until they signed this Iwabuchi. They had nothing in attack, and the defence, despite all the experience they brought in and the new signings or whatever, they've not been great. I mean, you compare them to the likes of Brighton or Birmingham, who can sort of sit back well and shut up shop, but Villa have mistakes in them. So I think your idea of putting Jess down the middle would be great for that. A bit of physicality, someone who likes to score against Villa, as we know. But yeah, I think if Villa go down early enough, then yeah, floodgates will open. But the longer they keep it at 0-0, or even score against us, let's hope that doesn't happen. But the longer they keep a clean sheet for, if you like, the more confidence they'll get as they grow into the game. So early goal, first 10 minutes will be ideal.
Yeah, and I told you, John, that was his front three as well. Maybe swap the wingers around. Fiona, how good is this one of the games where, because you and I have always had this conversation, against the lower teams, we don't necessarily need to play two defensive midfielders. Is this that perfect game where we don't need to? We can play, play Hayley as the DM, but then everything in front of Hayley is just pure attack.
Yeah, definitely. We don't need to have that defensive cover as much because there's no reason to have 5 players playing defensively against their attack. Their main attack is Iwabuchi, so you need to be careful there. But I expect the fullbacks to be pushing forward, and I expect everybody else in midfield to be pushing forward. Because we saw what happened last time when we played them. It was tricky to break them down, so we need to use our numbers well, and we need to be creative and try that different pass, that little trick to get through their defence or whatever, because they will be set up defensively. So yeah, we have to hope that Casey appreciates that as well.
Yeah, John says in the comments, no Katie on Sunday. Jake, same point for you. Do you need to start 2 DMs on Sunday?
Definitely not. I mean, Villa. You look at our running now. Villa game. I'm trying not to disrespect them, but I'm really not worried about them in terms of actually not winning. Not winning the game. I think we'll definitely win and comfortably as well. But it's about having that ambition to go forwards, to have confidence, to believe that we don't have to hold the ball up. We don't have to have so much build-up play. Put players in attacking positions. Maybe give Ivana a start. Leave Tooney where she is, or give her a more advanced role. Give players more attacking freedom, because Sunday's one of those games where we're allowed to do that basically. And the more pressure that the Villa defence is under, the more they'll crack. And don't even get me started on the goalkeeper.
Okay, I won't. We'll come back to the goalkeeper in a minute. No, we won't. I'm only joking. If we drop points against Villa on Sunday, Fiona, is it the worst thing possible for us?
I don't know if I'd necessarily say the worst thing possible, but we need to turn our form around after those 2 losses. We need to get a winning streak going again. We need to keep the pressure on the 4th place team, which I think is Arsenal at the moment. We need to carry on doing those things, and dropping points against a team like Villa, which they I can't see them beating us because they don't tend to score. I think they've only scored in 4 of their 11. They've not scored in 7 of the 13 games, so I can't imagine them doing that. It would end up being a very dull draw, if anything. And Casey's had time over this international break to reset the players and the mood and all those kind of things. So it might be disappointing to see us not being able to turn that form around, but I can't see it happening with the players that we've got. Like Jackie doesn't necessarily score, but she creates things. We've got Kirsty Hansen, we've got Kristen Press. We've got players that against the likes of Villa should be getting us a result.
Jake, you've said from the very beginning during this conversation that you are extremely confident again on Sunday for Villa. You've said confident.
Yeah.
If we drop points against them, what's that telling you?
Maybe I shouldn't say too confident. I mean, we all remember Reading a few weeks ago, but it's hard not to be confident looking at us and looking at Villa and looking at the seasons we've had so far. If we were to drop points, massive disappointment. I mean, we talk now about Arsenal with the games in hand and the momentum they have at trying to catch us up now in 3rd place. I look at the season we've had, and also we've had 2 defeats back to back. We need to get back to winning ways. There's no doubt about that. And Villa aren't one of the teams where you look at and go, they're a risk to us. They're a risk on the pitch. They always will be, and there could be an unpredictable result. We all hope there's not, but yeah, if we weren't to take all 3 points, it'll be a massive upset. We are heavy favourites on Sunday, and not just against an established WSL team. This is a new WSL team who found the league quite hard. So we are massive favourites. Even if it's a scrappy 1-0, it's 3 points, it's a goal. At the moment, to get back on track, we'll take it. But a draw, I wouldn't be happy. I'd be fuming if we drew this one.
Yeah, no, I agree. And actually, I'm just going to go through some of the comments. Someone in the comments, they're talking about starting Ivana up front, maybe as a false number 9. I think that might be a good idea. Vincent says we need to win because we need to kick into gear and maybe win the league at the moment. The way things are looking, it looks like only our women, they've got a chance of winning the league. For me, I'm not too sure whether we'll win the league or not. I think I'm more happy just getting into the Champions League and staying there. John Fry summed it up perfectly. We just need to win, full stop. And for me, it's that simple, and I completely agree with John. And I'm going to use a phrase that John has been saying probably for most of these podcasts. It's a massive game. Every game we play now for me is a massive game. Deborah says, I'd like to think our attitude is right for Sunday. Need to learn from the last two games. Fiona, the last two games were a massive disappointment. Are you just now, right, they're done. We can't look back at them. We can't replay them. This is a new start now for you?
Yeah, we can't change the result. The only thing we can do from those games is learn our mistakes, whether that be defensively, making mistakes or not being good enough, but also attacking, not being good enough to score chances or create chances, that kind of thing. That's all you can do. But you need to take that forward into the games that you've got coming up. And don't worry about, oh, I didn't play well last game, I need to play well this time. Like, just play. Play with some freedom, play. Sometimes you have to think it's a training match kind of thing. You've not got that pressure on you. That's what some players need. They need to do that. Some other players will need the pressure on them. Say, actually, no, I need to perform well. But don't have those fixtures those results in the back of your head. Go in with a clean slate, like you say, and show us what you can do, because we know they've got it in them. We know the potential. You just need to deliver now, and they've done it in the past, so they know that they can do it, and take that bit of confidence with them.
Yeah. Couple of comments before we start to wrap it up. John Fry says our season starts now, and we need to learn from Sunday how to win again. And again, Karen says every player needs to put a shift in for every game from now on. Jake, I don't want to keep going back to the point you made about Villa. Do you think there's possibly? Do you think Casey's gone in and said, "You're not looking to the Arsenal game. We've got this game first, then we'll look to Arsenal"? Do you think it's that simple, or do you think there's people, maybe certain people, who have put the Villa game to bed already and say, "Well, that's 3 points," and they're already looking at the Arsenal game?
Well, we can't do that, because I think that's what the players might have done with Reading, thinking that City's round the corner, that's the bigger game. Yes, Arsenal is the bigger game, there's no doubt about it, but this is also massive. Every game now until the end of the season, with the situation we find ourselves in, is massive. It's not job done. You can look. I know I've spent the whole podcast talking about how weak Villa are, that they could spring a shock. It's not done until you've scored the goals and you've won the game. It's as simple as that. You've got to block out everything in the past. Yeah, we've won games, we've lost games. That's that. Everything in the future. Yeah, Arsenal and all the teams after that is massive. Focus on the here and now. Go and do the job. Get the 3 points. They just got to block everything else out of their minds.
Yeah. Ian has said in the if we have our sights on Arsenal, we'll get beaten by Villa. And John Fry says if they're saying that, Casey needs to give them a kick, as we need to win on Sunday. Yeah, I agree. So in wrapping it up, Jake, we're going to win on Sunday?
Oh, yeah, should do.
So you saying a comfortable win?
Might be ambitious. Let's go 4-0.
I mean, it's 4-0. Are they happening in the 90th, the 91st, the 92nd, and the 93rd minute? From there on?
Maybe, no. Yeah, let's have 2 in the first half, 2 in the second. Why not?
Okay. Fiona, comfortable win for you on Sunday?
Yeah, I think there'll be nervy moments, but a comfortable 3-1 win.
Okay. 3-1. We're going to concede. Oh, well, from a corner, I bet we concede as well. I don't know. Right. I'd like to thank you both for joining me tonight. It's been a lot of fun. Next week, Deborah's back with, I don't know, actually, she has told me, but I've completely forgotten. So thanks for everyone for watching. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Fiona. And we'll see you soon. Bye.